What is back to there?
All right. Welcome to. So here's a question. You gotta get your posture right.
After watching the last one, I slouched through the whole thing. My mother would be very disappointed in me.
The last one we were walking, so I don't think you were
Oh,
slouching.
we were sitting on that park bench at Botanical Gardens.
That's right. We did. Well, welcome to episode 14. We are at a park today too,
If we don't even know where.
in Ogden somewhere. So
We drove till we found no people.
we decided we didn't want to have as many people walking around as last time.
A little distracting.
It was. All right. Speaking of distracting, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So it's my turn to come up with a question, right?
Yep.
So here's a question. At what point, if you have a lot of things going on, this is going to be a hard question for you. At what point do you just go and say, okay, I'm not going to do everything to my full effort? What point do I go and say, you know what? I'm going to do this a little bit.
I'm going to get a B on a test.
Maybe on the school, but other things too in life, right? It's like, well, you were just watching yeah, and you just happened to be watching. I thought it was pretty poignant. The Lucille Ball, the Lucy show, where she's doing they're trying to do the chocolates, and she's like, pretty much, at what point do you just go and say, okay, things are coming down the line?
I'm just going to eat a few, and I'm going to let a few go past.
At what point do you call in and say, look, I can't handle anymore. I'm just going to, let a few things go by and not do it all the way?
A good question, and I'm not very good at that because I feel like maybe from my upbringing, I don't know, but if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right, and you're going to do it all the way, and that's fine.
That's something we get ingrained in us, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good philosophy. It really
good
is.
When it's one thing or maybe two things, like when you're in high school, your job is school, and maybe you've got, like, I worked for my dad, so maybe I had school full time, and I worked a couple hours a night with my dad, and I could, like, those two things. And I remember, and our daughter does this a lot. I remember thinking, I'm just so stressed out and so busy and then you grow up and you get married and you have kids and your kids are doing things and you're doing things and your callings and this week has been one of those.
Your basket overfloweth.
But not with blessings. I mean, with blessings. They were each great, but yeah, Monday I went up to girls' camp and spoke, so I had to prepare the lesson in advance, which is great. It was I love to speak, so that's fine. And then Tuesday I worked, Monday I worked, Tuesday I worked. Wednesday I had off, but we also went up to girls' camp as Bishop night and Bishop's wife night. But I also had to bake 2 cakes, so there was even prep work involved in that. But that's usually my full day that I give to doing homework. And I had a midterm this week, and then like Thursday and Friday were pretty chill. But yeah, like, I've thought of that so many times, and we talked about it earlier because, like, I haven't been able to get on the treadmill as much as I would normally like to, because this week I got up early every morning, but I did homework because I knew I wasn't going to have as much time on my full day on my Wednesday. And I thought, I guess I could be getting up earlier, but at 50, almost 50.
Not quite 50 yet.
My body can't do. I used to be able to get up every morning. I'd get up at 5:30. I would run, 4 or 5 miles, start my day, but I don't know the answer to that. I've given and maybe I've chosen the wrong thing, but I've kind of had to give up that wake up early and make sure I'm on the treadmill every morning. And I can feel it. I've talked to you about that. Like, I think I've gained some weight, and I'm sitting at work all day and I'm sitting at home all day. So I should put more effort into my working out and my diet, but something has to give.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be my schooling, and I don't want it to be my job, and I don't want it to be my spouse, and I don't want it to be my kids. And so as I'm logically putting all those through my brain, the one thing that I have to give, I guess, has to be myself.
Hopefully you don't give up on yourself. But I guess that's what that was that discussion about finding time to exercise for both of us. It's become a lot harder. We were younger, two small kids. We thought it was hard then. We thought, oh, because we'd get up and either kind of get a babysitter or take them in strollers to go run in the mornings, like on the weekends. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so nice. We're gonna have more time when our kids are old enough and won't babysit themselves.
I think that's the myth number one of parenthood, that I just want any new parent. You're not going to have more time.
Well, don't ruin it for them. Let them
You're
discover that.
never going to have any more time. And I was thinking the other night, last night, when we were falling asleep in bed, and neither we were like trying to stay up and talk and falling asleep in bed. And I was like, eventually, you're probably going to have a different position at work, because your position at work right now requires you to get up super early in the morning. And eventually, this calling that you have is going to be over. And eventually, I'm going to be done with school, and I can just focus on work. But then I'm realizing, exactly, I'm realizing that is just a myth. So what do you do? That's a hard question. I don't know the answer to it because I haven't found it myself.
Well, I look at it, there's some people that excel with some great things. There was a movie we were watching, I can't remember the name of the movie, but he wanted to become an astronaut. He was a Mexican immigrant that wanted to become an astronaut. And he was able to do it. And it's awesome. It's a really good inspirational movie. But as I watched it, it was amazing how much he sacrificed for that dream, how much his family had to sacrifice for that dream, And when you say you can do anything, this is,
you can be kids, whatever you want to be.
You can be whatever you want. It is, but you just get to choose one. Now some people are blessed with lots of things, but really, if you want to be anything you can, you just have to be willing to sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for that? And I guess that sometimes we kind of lay it out and say, what is our priorities? What is our sacrifice? And sometimes maybe it's, hey, you know what? I want to do something all the way. But sometimes maybe I do it halfway.
But then here's the problem.
And
how do you keep from beating yourself up when you know you're only doing it halfway? Is that just a me trait? I've seen you beat yourself up when you feel like you've maybe dropped the ball on something, like at work or church, or I've seen you get disappointed and discouraged in yourself. So how do you, I have never in my life done anything halfway. I think that's why my business was so successful. I think that's why I'm getting straight A's in school. However, at the risk of what?
Yeah.
My sanity.
What are you prioritizing for it? So I think sometimes we just have to go and say, it's okay if today I'm going to just not put it all 100% in. So, and that's hard. It is, because there's risk you can beat yourself up later, but I think we all have to make those hard decisions. What do we prioritize above other things? So it's hard, I mean, there's so many. I was talking to Max. He's almost 14 right now. He's, summer, and he's just enjoying the summer, which is great. Not doing a lot. Then you realize you've got like 2 summers. Then you're going to have a summer job. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to be off on a mission, and then college, and a family, and, enjoy the summers. I said, man, I have this huge list of all the things that I would love to have time to do. And you can't think of anything to do in the summer. But, maybe that's not a bad thing either, but I just...
If we gone opposite with him, and we're like, you know what? Don't excel at anything. Shouldn't say he's not excelling. He's 14.
He does well.
I'm not too worried about it.
But there's nothing he's overly passionate about.
And he's 14, so maybe that doesn't happen at 14. Yeah. I can't think of anything I was overly passionate about at 14. Started being super passionate about piano, but like 16, 17.
That's when I started getting passionate about space camp.
Sure glad that didn't pan out.
Oh, but no, I mean that's the challenge. So anyway, I don't know if we gave anybody an answer or if we came up with an answer, but
So that's something
it's a
really
hard question.
tactile. Like, okay, so I look at, I've got 4 callings.
Mhm.
This week, 3 of them are going to be part of my week.
Okay.
And then my job, my schooling, parenthood, spousehood.
Do the spousehood halfway.
I already am. Because I know you'll love me no matter what. So I do feel like I'm already doing the spousehood halfway. We even talked, like, I don't know, like, I can't even think of anything tactile. I guess I've had a lot of people, including my wise therapist, say, why are you doing 4 callings?
You're a dang bishop. Just won't release you.
I guess I
Should
could
talk to him
not practice the organ before I go play the organ tomorrow.
and be okay with making a few mistakes. You know, I mean that's the preparation I put into the, you know, speaking to the girls this week was not that much, but I feel that I was thinking about it, and you know, and enough to that I think it went pretty well, you know,
really well, I think, yeah.
and you know, and so I think sometimes you just have to go and say, well, I'm going to make this leap, and if it doesn't work out as well as I want it to, I'm going to have to be okay with it. And that is hard. You're right. I do not like to, you know, not do as well as I'd like, but maybe just
Still not a tactile answer.
maybe sometimes you just go to the store and get a rotisserie chicken instead of making dinner.
So we literally bought stuff to make dinner. No, maybe I just don't go to church tomorrow.
Okay, that's one. Where do you prioritize things?
Maybe I'll skip church and work out tomorrow. I will not.
No, you won't. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to end on that, encouraging people not to go to church.
Oh, yeah, no, that's bad. Go to church. That's where half my blessings are from. All of my blessings.
There you go.
Yeah,
Do the best you can. I
this
don't
is
think
a
we
hard
have a good, I don't think we
question.
have a good answer. Sometimes we
How
ask
about this?
questions, but we don't have a good answer.
Beating yourself up.
That's probably the best thing.
Because we're all, I shouldn't say all, but my therapist says that's a bad word. When anytime you all or nothing or never or ever or always, like, it's not supposed to use those types of words. I can't think of the word. Anyway.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's kind of like what I talked to the girls about this week. Accept who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from who you were before, no matter what it is, and strive to be better tomorrow.
There you go. I think that fits here really well.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you hopefully next week.
That was a weird wave.
Yeah, it was.